Welcome to the briefing room. The Osun gubernatorial election is over, and Governor Ademola Adeleke has secured another 4-year term. But beyond the winner and the results, we see that the elections have brought familiar issues again to the front. Vote buying, allegations of intimidation, political violence, and we've seen also the cases and the roles of security agencies, how they've played out and, how they've been effective and ineffective in this election.
Of course, and if we've seen these things play out in the Osun State gubernatorial elections, what then should we expect in the upcoming 2027 election? You see, election isn't just about who wins. It's about people coming out to exercise the democratic right peacefully, fairly, without any form of intimidation, inducement, or threats of violence.
So today, we're going to be looking at what happened in Osun State and what this could mean for the future of elections in Nigeria. My name is Andrew Isaiah Priye.
And I am Kelvin Raphael. This is the briefing room.
Stay with us.
About 2.3 million people turned out to exercise their democratic right in the just concluded Osun governorship election, which was held on the 15th of August 2026. Now, we expected this election to be peaceful, free and fair, but unfortunately that wasn't entirely the case because we had cases of intimidation, threats, violence, even vote buying. And before the election, Yaga Africa warned that vote buying and voter inducements were major threats to the credibility of the Osun State elections, and there were reports of 10,000 naira being paid to people before the election day. And even during the election, right, the Center for Democracy and Development raised concerns about BVAS failures, vote buying again, and violence, right? And according to their report, there were slow accreditations, slow biometric verification, and difficulties in different locations, including Ejibo, Obokun, Shogbo, Olorunda, and Ola Oluwa. And then, particularly at Eden North, CDD said that voting was disrupted for a considerable period of time because of the BVAS problem, and voters were also reportedly experienced slow processing at Ede South. Now, these are issues that we've seen in previous elections, and we're seeing these issues being repeated again. Let's go for starters. Why are we having issues with the BVAS? These were things that were discussed initially, right? And we said, I know that the Senate, before they even passed the bill, they complained that there might be network issues, network disruption. But they didn't focus on how to fix these issues, how to address these issues. They did not. Instead, they made it seem like BVAS was going to be a problem. And I think that probably sitting down right now and smiling, I mean, we told you all this BVAS was going to be a problem. Look, it is now a problem. But we're supposed to find a solution. If it is a network issue, how do we ensure that there is steady, uninterrupted network at different polling units?
So this is what I think, Kelvin. 16 years now of the BVAS introduction into the electoral sector to sort of make things easier, more efficient, ensure that accreditation is faster, and ensure that voters can exercise their franchise and, get whoever they want into power there. But interestingly, we've seen that not one, not two, not three times, there's been consistent failure of BVAS. We saw this in 2023 general election, the presidential election. We saw this play out across all of the states, even the federal capital territory, And then now we're seeing this play out in Osun State, in the just concluded election. I think it's very interesting because this shows us what we are going to be experiencing in the elections in 2027. I feel like this literally is a mirror, it's sort of like a prophecy to what we're going to be experiencing. If by now, this is 2026, we have barely a couple months to the election in 2027. If by now, by August of 2026, we're still having voter accreditation problems because the BVAS, the system, the infrastructure is not solid enough to ensure that the voters can exercise their franchise early enough, I think that we are in for a long one.
Yeah.
I am glad that irrespective of the issues that came up, IRF Portal shutting down us, and keeping everybody in the dark, INEC keeping everybody in the dark, we still saw that Osun State, they put the person they wanted in power themselves. They stayed, they defended their votes, irrespective of the challenges. And that, again, I say, is a prophecy to what would happen in 2027. These people, regardless of the machinations that went in, with the several death counts that we saw, violence in several polling units, we still saw that they stayed. They were not going to accept a no, and they still pulled through. And we saw that irrespective of the fact that the RF Portal went down for a couple hours, and then we saw how celebrity Davido, the nephew of Governor Ademola Adeleke, came up to press the electoral bodies, INEC, to ensure that they're transparent, even though they still not said anything up until now, right? These people put who they wanted. But this is something I find interesting. Even though ADC, the governor came out the winner, he still said that there should be an investigation into the hours that were lost by, the shutdown of the RF Portal. And yes, he won with about 66,000 votes.
Yeah.
And rightly so. It could have been more, I believe, if the coalitions where they were promptly attended to. Yes, they were more transparent.
There were reports of people being chased away. Thugs,
Exactly.
ABC and police chasing people away from the INEC office. To prevent them from observing the counting of their votes, which is not supposed to be so, because actually the voters have the right to stay and watch them, to stay and count their vote, and actually take pictures and videos of the reports from the polling unit centers. But it's so unfortunate that these very rights that we have, we're unable to exercise it peacefully. Now, coming to the aspect of vote buying, this has been a very serious issue for the longest, right? Who do you think is actually at fault? Who should be held more accountable? The people who are selling their votes, the citizens who are selling their votes, or the politicians? We had reports of people selling their votes for as low as 5,000, 10,000 to 20,000 naira. So who do you think should be held more accountable, the politician or the citizens?
The question, I don't think, is who should be held accountable. The question I think we should ask is, why does vote buying exist in the giant of Africa, a country like Nigeria that is supposedly the giant of Africa? Why should vote buying exist in the first place? And I would chalk it down to two things. Number one is extreme poverty.
Yes, of course.
Number two, the political class have found a way to keep the citizens, the mass of the country, subservient to them. They've held their throne of authority over the class of people that they've ruled for so long, that they would come to these people as saviors, and then the psyche of the average man that is unable to get food to eat is, the country's not going to get better. So why don't I just accept as this money, because I don't know when I'm going to get this again. I don't know when I'm going to have this opportunity. You'd find that you would not see cases of vote buying in countries like the US. Why this would not happen is because they literally do not care for you. They care for who they want to be in power, and they are comfortable enough to reject whatever you bring to their table.
Yes,
emphasis on they're comfortable enough. Now, if we had more of because we do not have the middle class again in existence in Nigeria, if we have more of the middle class exercising their franchise, they would be able to disregard the measly 5,000 to 10,000 naira that they are handed. But because we have those in the rural areas coming out to exercise their franchise, these people, they are not well-to-do. They barely have.
And it's not just those in the rural areas, even those in the cities.
Those in the cities. I'm saying, I'm bringing it forward, right? I'm cascading it upward. Those in the rural areas then come to those in the cities that are unable to survive. You'll find that they have seen an opportunity to, sell their conscience. However, some persons will say we took the
they
money.
don't really look at it as selling their conscience.
No,
They
no,
look at it as just
surviving.
satisfying an immediate need.
Exactly. So
Yes.
I don't know what 10,000 or 5,000 naira can conveniently get, someone. I don't know if they can live through that for the whole day or for the week, but it is enough. It is, from my perspective, from my lenses, it is low enough. It is too low a fee or a stipend for them to consider as something that is worthy of taking, but from their perspective, it is high enough to sell 4 years. It is a worthy enough amount to sabotage the next 4 years of their life because they do not see a way out, right? So this is what we're saying. Think about this. If this played out in Osun State, where the governor decamped from the People Democratic Party into ADC, and he still came in because the people love him, and they were able to stand by him and ensure that they voted and they defended their vote. Now think about this. Majority of the governors in Nigeria, they are APC governors.
Yeah, that's true.
And in 2027, they are going to put their foot down to ensure that they, quote and unquote,
deliver their state.
Deliver their state for the president.
Before we get there,
I want to say
go back
that
to the question I asked, right? Who should be held more accountable?
we can, even if you hold the politicians, this is what I'm saying. Whether you are going to hold them and say, don't give people money to sell or do not buy votes for money, it is not something that is going to change anytime soon. And you cannot tell the people, don't take money, because when you take the money away from them, what are you going to replace it with?
All right, so here is the thing, right? The politicians, first of all, should be held more accountable. Why? Because they are at a better position. You see, the citizens are impoverished and everybody is just looking for their next meal. 5,000 naira might seem like 1 million naira for someone who hasn't had a meal in like 2 or 3 days, right? So they're looking for something to satisfy their immediate need because, one, they've lost faith in the government. They've lost faith in the electoral process because all the time they voted with their conscience, with pure hearts, they didn't sell off their vote. There was nothing to show for it. The leader came into power and made their life worse. So they've lost complete faith in that, right? So all of those things also contribute to the reason why people just sell off their votes.
Speaking to,
now,
as you land, speaking to vote buying, you understand that when you say vote buying, you have to look at it across board, holistically, because it is not just reports of vote buying did not just come from the camp of the opposition. It also came from the camp of the incumbent. Are you getting it, right? So think about it. Even though he knew that he had done enough, even though he knew that the people love him, personnel from his team would still go out to hand money out as to say, take this and still vote for us. So this is what I'm telling you. Whether you're going to say, let us hold them accountable, they should stop doing this. It is something that has unfortunately come to stay.
No,
because
it is something that can't be taken away. So I don't like it when we address issues this way, like when we dwell with problems
that
rather
is an utopia. I'm going to say this: it is a utopia. What you're speaking of is a utopia, a world where things are fair, things are balanced. We said, look at the whole electoral process.
What I am saying is,
holding them accountable is not going to fix it.
Should be held accountable for vote buying, right? And they should face the consequences.
Who holds them accountable?
Who holds them accountable?
Yes, who holds them accountable? Because we have the electoral college. Yes. So if INEC holds them accountable, INEC. Let's look at this election because, like I said, it's a mirror to the 2027 election. For this election in Osun State, right? The IRF portal was down for quite a number of hours, right? As at the time that collation has happened across about 3,267 polling units.
So do you think that was intentional?
Hold on. Let's leave intentional. Let us process it logically. If INEC, the body, quote and unquote, that should hold the politicians or the political class accountable, could allow such a thing happen, because obviously it is a ploy to bend to the will of the opposition, right? So if they could allow that happen in an instance where there was overwhelming victory and we saw that the people really wanted Governor Demola Adeleke to come back as governor, if they could do that in a place where it is so clear that Governor Ademola Adeleke was going to win, what do you think happens?
So,
What do you think happens in the presidential election? Do you think they are going to
the
hold...
INEC is to ensure a free, peaceful, fair election,
Okay.
right?
So when that
if
does not
INEC
happen,
fails to do that,
what
the
happens to them?
citizens are to hold INEC accountable.
How?
And the citizens are to take drastic measures.
How?
It's either they lead a protest, right? The demand for transparency, and I'm not talking about people just, just casually asking, okay, we need transparency, we need you to do what you're supposed to do. I am talking about the people actually taking a stand. And that is what Nigerians fail to do over and over again. We fail to take a stand. And the reason why I would keep saying this is so that Nigerians will understand that the change we so much desire can only happen if we stand up and create that change. It is not going to magically happen. INEC refuses to do their job. We hold them accountable. We hold them to ransom. Whatever we need to do to ensure that INEC does its job, we do it.
You see, last week while we spoke, very passionate and solid statement, right, that you've just made. Last week while we spoke, we said that the outcome of this election would show us, right, where we are as a citizen, where we are as the political class, where we are as, a country practicing democracy, and this has shown us. Now, we see cases of, imagine that someone like Davido was not, obviously now he is the head of the youth movement, the Imole youth movement, right?
Well, I don't even really want to talk about Davido because he's doing selective politics only when it concerns him and his family.
That is fine. However,
that is not fine, actually.
This is what I'm telling you. This is where we're going with that. You see, you said people should take a stand. That is an example of whether you say there's a personal bias to it. That is exactly an example of taking a stand. What do you think happens if more celebrities took a stand, used their platforms, used their voices to, because when I said, you said we're holding them accountable, and I said, how? This is one of the ways, because collectively as a people, whether you're going to stage protests from now to the end of the year, you see something that the ruling class would always have over the impoverished is that you can drag out, they can afford to have issues extended for the period of time.
Yeah,
the poor
true.
man cannot leave his job, cannot leave the 2 naira, the source of the place where he's getting. Hold on.
It is a mindset.
Wait.
What is more important
Let me
to
explain
you?
something, because we're getting to a how. I'm telling you now that whether you say it is selective participation, he used his voice, he used his platform to press. And when I say press, he kept calling them out. And as he called them out, a lot of people, stood under that umbrella to also voice out their displeasure. Are you getting what I'm saying? So think about it. If the people that we looked up to as celebrities, the people that we looked up to as, thought leaders, industry, captains of industries, if they use their platforms to speak up, we would now have an umbrella that we can stand under. Because
we do not need an umbrella to stand on. You see, this is it. Nigerians are always waiting for someone to take the lead. Always waiting for someone to be the savior.
That is why we're here, because nobody's taking the lead.
We do not need that. We all have to come together collectively. No, we do not need...
How are we going to come together if nobody's leading?
We do not need a celebrity to start the movement.
Not
we do not need a celebrity to use that platform.
We need people
or a person of authority to use that platform.
Kelvin.
We ourselves as individuals, we can come together and use our voices, use our platforms to demand the change we want,
Kelvin,
to demand that the right thing be done, to hold our leaders accountable, to hold INEC accountable. Look, what played out in the Osun election is just a glimpse into what is going to happen in 2027.
I have a question for you.
We better get ready.
Let's just look at, now, again, like I said, right, if we logically analyze these things, you would find that the answers lie in the fact that leadership, why I said we need to band under somebody or together is because when the NSAS protest was sabotaged, it was because at the time of speaking, I said the political class have something over the classes that they rule, and this is because they can have protests. They can be comfortable in protests. But the moment they introduce talks, you see this case now of vote buying, is because people do not have enough money. They are living impoverished lives, so they can sell their votes. I'm telling you now that one of the mediums to hold people accountable is to ensure that those that have the power to speak are speaking. Why did Tyler cancel her show when she did not speak about the xenophobia case? It's because there was a cancel culture, people spoke, and then they banded under that, and then she was like, okay, you know what, this can't happen again in Nigeria. I'm telling you
it's actually the normal citizens who spoke, which made the government to react to that. So it wasn't a celebrity, a Nigerian celebrity, or a public figure who spoke about it. It was Nigerian citizens who spoke about it, who carried it.
This is what I'm saying to you, Kelvin. The reason why Nigeria, to a large extent, is where we are is because there has been zero leadership. There's no, apart from the time of Obasanjo, if you think about it critically, and when we came under, President Ebele Goodluck Jonathan, where the citizens came together to say this was the person we wanted. They banded together and they made it happen. Several persons, several bodies came up and said, this is the person we want. And it happened. However, you would find that when, when President Buhari was about to come into power, he had a mob court following. By that I mean, go back and look at the threats from 2015, where late President Buhari made a threat and he said there would be bloodshed. The reason why he could make such a statement was because he had a massive following. He had a mob-like cult following that if he says there's going to be bloodshed, they do not mind going into cities to start unaliving people. Do you know why that was? He had a mob. You know what a mob cult following is? He had not just the ability to say it, he had a following, he had a backing that ensured that whatever he said became law, became the norm, became accepted. What happened? President Ebele Jonathan, even though he was incumbent and sitting, conceded. This is why I'm telling you that. You know, when you say the people, look at Osun State critically. The very people that should have come together, right, to ensure that they put him back. At the end of the day, a part of them, he won by just 66,000. The difference is so small. Think about it. If this was a presidential election, what difference do you think 66,000 votes will do? If we are counting the votes from state to state, it is not going to be a lot. And this played out in Osun State, where the people's favorite was not from the ruling political party. It was from the opposition. So you have to understand that these people that you're talking about, as regards holding the government accountable, speaking up, they would speak up, mind you. However, if they're not banding under something, if we're not coming together under an umbrella, would you say the people should come? We can do it ourselves. Who is going to be at the forefront? It is very easy to scatter.
We will all be at the forefront.
No, see. Check every single movement
we come together and choose a leader amongst ourselves.
But again, you see, we
choose a leader amongst ourselves. We're not choosing a celebrity. We're choosing a leader amongst ourselves.
Whether a leader comes from heaven,
this is where I have a problem.
Whether a leader comes from heaven, whether a leader comes from Sokoto, whether a leader comes from Zamfara, I am telling you for a fact. This is since 2023, after the elections.
So
right?
What exactly? You want us to accept whatever happens? Is that your point?
It is not a matter of accepting what has happened. I'm telling you now that between now and 2027, we need to start identifying key stakeholders. We need to start identifying people that have the ability to bring people together.
If the key stakeholders are not willing to bring people together, are not willing to stand with the people, are you going to force them? You're not going to force them.
I'm telling you.
Our celebrities a lot of them haven't been speaking up about the election, about the presidential election.
Listen,
a lot of them have not been campaigning. They've been quiet about it. So if somebody isn't going to take the lead, you're not going to force them, which is why I believe that we have to come together, all of us, and choose a leader amongst ourselves. Look, our population is over 250 million people. How many celebrities do we have? Are they up to 1 million?
Listen,
are they up to 2 million? They're not even a quarter of the population.
If you were in Osun State, and we'll be wrapping up shortly with this, right? And this is a thought I have for you. If you were in Osun State as one of the voters, and when you were voting, you were about to exercise your franchise, mobs came, thugs came, and they disrupted that process. You were there physically and you were unable to vote. Right there and then, what would you have been able to do as a person?
What would I have been able to do?
Yes.
All right.
You would likely go online and make a comment about it and say, this is what is happening here. We need this to be looked into. Okay, go ahead.
What I'm going to do.
Go ahead and tell me.
Yes. So first of all, I would go to safety.
Oh,
right?
you will run away?
No, I will not run away. There's a difference between running away and going for safety. Running away means I'm leaving and I'm not returning. Going to safety means I'm just going away for a short period and I am returning when I feel like the place is calm. It's not running. Running away means I'm just leaving. I'm not coming back, right? I would go to safety. I would make a post. I would make videos of the situation and see when I'm returning back to the polling unit, right? I'm not going back empty-handed. I'm going to come back fortified. I'm going to come back prepared with whatever is going to happen. That is what we need to do. We are too scared as a people. We are too scared. You see, even the Bible says that the kingdom of heaven suffereth, you know the answer, and by that, taketh it by force. So you know it. So what I am saying is that we need to be fully prepared for whatever is going to happen in 2027.
Do you know that?
Whatever you are afraid of, whatever you are afraid of is eventually going to happen to you. If it doesn't happen right now, it's going to happen later in the future. So really, we have to come to the point where we're no longer afraid of anything. We need to take back our country. We need to take back Nigeria. No celebrity is going to do that for us. No stakeholder is going to do that for us. We are going to do it by ourselves. Nigerians are their own savior. Stop waiting for a savior. We are our own savior.
I agree about the part of being saviors, and I'm telling you that, to wrap this up, I'm telling you that a lot of the things that we say remains spoken words because we do not have the wherewithal, we do not have the requisite strategies to ensure a lot of these things happen. I'm saying that because Osun State elections it really gave us a blueprint of what can play out in the 2027 presidential elections because quite a number of things we saw. We saw the BVAS failure. We saw the failure of the IRF portal. We saw that there were oppression even by the security personnel that were on ground that should have protected the citizenry that were there to exercise their franchise. We also saw that there was vote buying. We saw that there were several allegations of rigging across several polling units. Again, it shows us that Nigerians, we are still a bit relaxed. We're comfortable. We're waiting for 2027 to come before we decide, that we want to change. But, this is why I agree with what Kelvin has said, that we need to wake up and come alive to our responsibilities. And I'm going to leave you with a question, right, sincerely speaking. Do you think, having just seen the concluded elections in Osun State, do you think Nigerians are ready genuinely for the 2027 presidential election? I'll leave that for you to answer in the comment section.
And I have to say this, if the electoral or the INEC is not ready, or the government is not ready, we the citizens have to be ready. We have to start preparing for the 2027 election and prepare for whatever is going to happen. And let me say this, 2027 election is our only chance. It is our only chance and our last chance. If we miss it, we're gone. We're done for. Nigeria is done for. So better be prepared. Be prepared.
This is all we will be taking for the conversation today on the briefing room post the Osun State gubernatorial elections. Thank you for staying with us today. My name is Andrew Isaiah Priye.
And I am Kelvin Raphael.
See you on the next one.
Yep.